Good morning, children. Yesterday I had explained that Jack told his daughter Jo that when Roger Skunk told about his problem, so the wizard chanted certain magical words and changed the foul smell of Roger Skunk to the smell of roses. But suddenly, when Jack heard the rumble sound of the furniture downstairs, he got a bit worried for his wife Claire because she was 6 months pregnant and they were expecting their third child. Fine. Now, continuing further. So, father again continued his story that when Roger Skunk showed his helplessness for providing 7 pennies as wizard's fee, so the wizard told him to go to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times. And there he would find the magic well, and there in the magic well he would find the rest of the 3 pennies. Because 4 pennies he already had with him. So in order to fetch the remaining pennies, Roger Skunk went to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times as instructed by the wizard. And there in the magic well he found 3 pennies. So immediately he took those 3 pennies from there and at once went back to the wizard to give the remaining 3 pennies. And then he was so happy and excited that he ran out into the forest where all his playmates were there. And they all gathered around him because he smelled so good. And after that, they all played a number of games together. Like tag game, it's a game of chasing, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse. Lacrosse, it's a game played with a lacrosse stick and a lacrosse ball. Hockey, saucer or football we can say, and pick up sticks games. And in each of these games, Roger Skunk was also there with all his old companions. So here again, when Jo, the little girl, when heard about a new game, she asked her father, "What's pick up sticks?" Then father explained that it's a game which is played with sticks. Like the wizard's magic wand? The girl asked. Kind of, the father said. Means the stick used in this game is somewhat like the magic wand of the wizard. Then father continued that in this way they all played number of games and laughed and enjoyed all afternoon. And when it started getting dark, they all ran home to their mummies, because either human beings or animals, but the small kids always need their mother when it gets dark. Why? Because excessive feeling of security and safety a child gets in the company of mother. So almost the whole night passed telling her the story. Means Jack was telling the story to daughter Jo, and almost the whole night had already passed. Clear? But still the girl Jo was still so active. And then she was starting fuss, means unnecessarily she started moving her hands and looked out of the window at the crack of the day that showed under the shade. At the crack of the day means that a new day started, means a new morning had approached, and under the shade means under the curtain, means that sunlight was visible under the curtain because the new day had approached. So why she started fussing with her hand, or why she started moving her hands in excitement? Because she thought the story was all over. And this was the thing which Jack hated in women, that they take things for granted. Take things for granted means that women, they assume or guess in advance, or they value someone or something too lightly. Clear? So what actually he liked or appreciate in women, that they should always be apprehensive. They should also always be doubtful and worried and afraid that something unpleasant may take place, may happen. Means father did not like in Jo that she had assumed that his story was over. but again hanging on his words. It's an idiom, means he again concentrated intently and very deeply on his words and continued his words. Now, Joe, are you listening? Yes, Joe replied. So, father wanted confirmation from the girl that she was listening. Why? Because he told that now he was going to tell her the most interesting part of the story, that when Roger reached home, Roger Skunk's mommy said, "What's that awful smell?" Means the wonderful smell of rose seemed terrible to the mother of Roger Skunk. So Roger astonishingly, very surprisingly reacted, "What?" And then told his mother that it was he, and it was not the awful smell but the lovely smell of roses. And then she asked in irritation, "Who made you smell like that?" And Roger replied that it was done by the wizard. And she asked, well of the nerve, means with all her strength to express her anger, she said, "You come with me and we are going right back to the awful wizard." Means the smell which was liked by Roger and all his playmates was highly disliked by his mother. So what does it show, children? That mothers, they love their children the way they are. Even if a child is born with a deformity, but still for a mother, her child is the best child in the world. And she accepts her child with his originality. Because her love is unconditional, and that's why Mother Skunk got angry when when came to know that the wizard dared to change the identity of her child, because to her the terrible smell of her child was the most beautiful smell, was the most lovely smell, because that was his originality, his identity. But this disturbed Joe, and she immediately sat up on her bed and she started moving her hands in a frightful manner and said, "But daddy, that he said about the other little animals run away?" Means she got worried and did not like the idea of mother's dislike for the changed smell, because Joe had understood in the story that only after the changed smell Roger's companions played with him. And before this, when he had that awful smell, that terrible smell, everyone avoided him. Her hands moved quickly off into the brushes, into the underbrush. Underbrush means here under the cover. Clear? So after that, what happened, children? This we'll do in our next lesson. So today you revise this much. Thank you very much.